I was looking back at the first year or so of my time in this business. So this is about 5 years ago. And I was doing that to look for some trainings that I wanted to do for some of my coaching clients. And there were a few really big ahas that I got from looking through that I wanted to share with you guys. Because I know that when you're starting out, I mean, building a business is never easy. I always say, right, let's not confuse easy with simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. There, especially for an online coaching or course business, there's only so many things that you need to focus on. That being said, of course, it's not easy. You're starting from scratch. You have to earn your audience's trust. You've got to build everything from zero, right? And so there were a couple of things that really stood out to me that, I mean, it was even a good reminder for me that I wanted to share with you guys. So if you don't know my story, a really quick recap because it's really relevant for this. About, I would say like 6 years ago, was when I started being really making progress in my online business. Before that, I really want to caveat, I was not an overnight success. So anyone thinking, oh my gosh, it's not happening fast enough for me, let me tell you. I started my first business. It was an offline business. It was a tutoring company, about, what was it, like 12 years ago, I believe. And that company was basically just came up because my mom's friends wanted me to help their kids, wanted me to tutor them to help them get into a really good college and get good grades and all of that. And so I was like, all right, I'll just do it. Why not? And grew that into a six-figure business. However, what I realized was I had spent the first 2 decades of my life trying to do that for myself. I did not want to spend the next 2 decades of my life doing that. And so shut that down, went into the corporate world, did a whole bunch of jobs in working as an engineer for the space station, working in financial services, working at tech companies. And so just tried a lot of things before realizing, okay, the corporate world isn't for me. And that's when I started really looking around and saying, okay, what can I do? How can I build my own online business? And this was back, I mean, I started doing this maybe like 6, 7, 8 years ago. I started looking online. And back then, the online world was very different. Nobody was, I mean, there weren't that many people talking about coaching or courses, and it was just a completely different world. And so it took me about 2 or 3 years of testing and figuring things out before I realized, okay, I can do coaching/consulting. That's a thing that you can do. Like, I didn't even realize that for the first 2 or 3 years, right? Made lots of mistakes, tested lots of things. I tested doing Microsoft Excel coaching, career coaching, and I mean, had some success in those, but I was really bored by the Microsoft Excel. There was no way I could have built a business on it because I worked in my job on it all day. And when it was taking me 2 weeks to write a blog post because I just didn't want to write it, I didn't want to talk about it outside of work, I realized, okay, I can't really build a business around this. For the career coaching, got clients, but I realized, hey, I'm going to be helping you to a point where you're going to have the things I do, the great salary, the management position, the things that you've wanted. And then I think you're going to be thinking what I'm thinking, which is I want to build my own thing for more fulfillment, control, income, all of that. And so I realized, okay, I don't want to talk about those. What can I do? And that's when I took my job skills at the time in advertising and started coaching and consulting on that. Okay, so long story short, but really important information, because then I was looking at, okay, so through this process, all of those years of failure and no results, figuring things out, when things started shifting for me, what were the things that I was doing in my business, right? And I was looking at how quickly things started growing, where I got my first client for $5,000. And I've talked before about how that happened. I wasn't trying to sell anything, right? I had no sales skills. I'd never done sales before in my life. My marketing wasn't that great. Hey, I had my knowledge. I knew what I knew. I knew a lot about running great ads from the years I'd spent managing and analyzing campaigns for really big advertisers like BMW, Mercedes, companies like that. And as a result, I was able to answer people's questions. And so all I did was I went out there, I found where my clients were, and they were in Facebook groups. I saw people asking about it, wasn't trying to sell them anything. And I reached out and said, hey, I can help you with this. Will you give me 10, 15 minutes to answer some market research questions? And in return, I'll answer any questions you have about advertising. And then what happened was one of the people I spoke with, she asked me a lot of follow-up questions over a period of about 2 weeks. And each time I just responded with like an essay of, hey, here's what you do, here's what's going on, here's what I recommend, and so on and so forth. And one day, out of the blue, she emailed me. I didn't see, or I saw the email. I didn't expect it to be anything different than another question, but I opened it and she was like, you have helped me so much over the last 2 weeks. How can I hire you? Because I know you're going to help me even more. And I actually had to say to her, hey, okay, this is awesome. Give me a week. Let me figure out what I can even sell, what's fair to both of us, what's the going rate, and let's talk again in a week. I actually had to say that to her because, again, I didn't have anything to sell at that point. And so she said, okay, because she already knew me. She knew that even though I was new to coaching and consulting, that I wasn't new to what I was helping her with. And so we did that. And I basically calculated based on how much help I'd given her and how much I figured support she would need, the hourly rate, and used my hourly rate for what I was making at my job, which was a pretty good amount. And it came out with about $5,000 for 6 months. So that was how I got my first client. Now, what happened after that was as a result, right, for $5,000 first month, then from there went to $11,000 to $40,000 to $50,000. And over, I might be missing a few thousand here or there, but you guys get the point. It just came together really quickly. And so what I wanted to share a little bit was what I focused on during that time frame to bring those results together. And again, this is caveating that it wasn't like I started from day one and this is what happened. This was the result of, I'd spent the, like previous basically decade really being in and out of different types of businesses, like my tutoring business, mobile payments startup that I co-founded, and all of this, and just trying to figure it out for myself for a really long time. And then specifically in my online business world, trying lots of different businesses and ideas, and really failing for about 2 or 3 years, not getting any results before this happened. So I really, really want to caveat that it wasn't like an overnight success. So if you're thinking it's not happening fast enough for you, that's absolutely not the case. Now, it doesn't have to take you as long as I did, right? Like I said, back then, there wasn't nearly as much good information available about this. At the time, the only stuff I could find were people saying, hey, sell affiliate stuff, like put up a link. There was this one site that said, hey, I'm making $3,000 a month by selling camera equipment, or selling affiliate links, or having affiliate links to camera equipment, things like that. Or, hey, learn how to do copywriting and then freelance on that and then make a few $100s a month. So I just wanted to put into perspective, that was the kind of information that was available to me back then. And all the coaching and courses that we're lucky enough to have nowadays that I'm glad to be a part of, it really wasn't so much a thing back then. So again, putting that into perspective, basically. So what I was doing during this time, I really thought about it. There were a few key things. I had my grounding activities, what I call sales activities, that I was doing every single day. Right? And what that means is it wasn't complicated. Remember, I was in a really busy job. And so I didn't have 40 hours a week or whatever to spend on my business. Some days I only had 30 minutes or less. And so I thought, okay, what's the most important thing I can use that 15, 20, 30 minutes to do? And what it ended up being was using that time to show up where my audience was and share something and talk to them every single day. That when I had no other time, when I could only do one thing, that was what I did. And so for me, the thing is, when you tell yourself to do something, if it's tough enough as it is, building a business, putting yourself out there, overcoming the fear of rejection of putting yourself out there, if you give yourself room to be overwhelmed and scared, it's not going to work. right? You're just going to talk yourself out of it. And so for me, I literally said, okay, Louisa, here are the groups you're going to be in. And I'm, self-coaching myself a little bit. Here are the groups you're going to be in. This is what you're going to do every single day. And it came down to basically having a to-do list that I could just check off. Did I do it or not? Because when you make it that crystal clear, you cannot hide from yourself, right? It's like, did I do it or did I not? And so it was, hey, this many groups. I think I had maybe 3 to 5 groups that I was really active in, and one of them was my own. One of them was my own after I started growing it. I didn't have my own group, I believe, in the first month or two of this. And so what happened was I was in those groups every day. I was sharing 1 post a day in those groups. That was pretty much it. Right? And then what I would do is I would say, okay, do I have any other free time? If I do, great. I'm going to respond to people commenting on my posts and just have that interaction and engagement with them, help them out if they have any questions. And I'm also going to search for questions related to ads at the time in these groups so I can answer them. And that was all I did every single day during the week. That's pretty much all I had time for. I mean, think about it. I'm not a morning person. So I tried to wake up earlier and try and do this. Did not work. I was like a zombie. So all I had to do, or all I could do, was I would come home from work pretty late because I had a really busy job. And I'd be really tired. You guys have probably experienced this. And so I didn't have the energy or the mental capacity to do something really detailed, like write a blog post. But I knew, okay, I can talk to people, I can answer questions on something I already know, and you know what, I can write a simple blog post. Some days I would just get 1 out. If I even got 1 out, that was a win, right? And so that was all I focused on during the week. Now, during the weekends, if I had a little bit of extra time, I would work on more in-depth things like, okay, maybe I want to do a quick update to my website. Not spending too much time on it, but I want to maybe add this blog post or something. Or I would spend some time writing out the content that I could share for the next week so that if there was a day during the week where I was really tired, I could just pull from my content bank and share something valuable, right? I would also just be fitting in sales calls whenever I could. So that was really all I focused on. And then once Periscope became a thing, right? That was really one of the first live streaming apps that really took hold and became really popular. I would be on there 2 to 3 times per week. So again, this was a balancing act. If one day I could only be on Periscope and that was all the time I had and I didn't have time to write my Facebook group's content, then I'd say, okay, you know what, I did this, and if I can, I'll share it in that group. If not, then I'll just know that that's enough, right? And so during this time, here's what I observed, and this is really important. Of course, there were lots and lots of posts and live streams that I did that got 0 engagement. I want to make that very clear. Nothing, even though some people say, Louisa, it looks like you grew things really quickly. I honestly, nothing ever happened super easily for me. I've never gone viral, right? I've never just had a big break or anything like that. Every win that I've gotten has been kind of hard fought and earned. And so what that meant for me was, in the beginning, I had a lot of learning to do. So whenever I wrote a post that got no engagement, right? What did I do? I would sit down and I would think through, okay, what can I learn from this? If I did a live stream that got no engagement, I would ask myself these questions. First, was it because this topic is just not something that people care about? Right? Maybe it just felt too boring or too technical. And that's something that I'll say for my clients. Okay, good to know. Or was it the way that I was saying it? Did it feel like, and because here's the thing, when you come from like a corporate background, like so many of us do, you're taught to speak a certain way, right? Very formal, very professional, kind of very dry. Like, I mean, I looking back over some of the emails I wrote, it'd be like, hi, here's this, please advise, that kind of language. And that doesn't translate well when you're talking like person to person on social media. And so I would really think through, okay, did this just feel like it was too technical? It was too dry, like an essay versus a post that people go onto social media to see. And then I would, if that was the case, I would say, okay, how can I rewrite this? And what I ended up doing, just a quick side note tip for you, I basically ended up talking through everything that I was wanting to share. I would say it out loud, like imagining I was just talking to a client or a friend, type it out, and then post it like that. So that's how I would do it. I'm seeing Ella saying hello, hi there. Okay, so that is the really important side note, right? Because I would think through, okay, what else? And sometimes it was maybe I was in a new group, I was in a group that wasn't a good fit for me. I would observe that for a week or so. And if it kept on not being the right group, I would say, okay, test, learn. So I would be conducting all these mini tests, right? And in the beginning, to be honest, I did track all of it. I would track, okay, I posted this in this group. Did I get engagement? Yes or no? I wouldn't necessarily track, okay, this many comments, this many likes. That was just too much work. But I would kind of eyeball it. And so I would be able to see, okay, here's what happened. And when you do that, by the way, it's not supposed to be overwhelming. It shouldn't be overwhelming. What it does help you do is it helps you see, okay, I'm making tangible progress. And so that's what I focused on. Now, another thing that I really focused on was when I wrote each of these posts, hopped on each of these periscopes that I did, before I did it, I took a few seconds. So this doesn't have to be that time consuming. I took a few seconds and I thought through, who am I writing this for? What is the point of this? What do I want someone reading this to take away from what it is that they're going to read? How do I want them to feel about this content that I just shared? How do I want them to feel about the topic that I'm talking about in relation to themselves? How do I want them to feel about me? What are they going to be thinking? And it was normally, look, I'm writing this for someone who is struggling with their ads. I want them to be thinking, oh my gosh, okay, this is simplified. This is broken down. I can see how I can do it. This was super helpful. And this Louisa chick, right? Nobody knew me at that time. So I wanted them to be thinking, this Louisa chick knows what she's talking about. And cool, I'm going to remember her name. Maybe they'd go and check me out. Maybe they'd message me. But even if they didn't do any of that, they would remember my name and see it as, okay, this is something that is helpful and useful. And next time I see her name, I'll remember her a little bit more. So those were the things that I was thinking of as I wrote these things. Now, a couple of things that I really want to point out, and really this is the process I went through, right? Now, the final piece I want to share is that as I was doing this, I want you to note, I didn't just write a post and then say, okay, bye, right? I didn't just do a live stream and say, okay, bye. I forced myself to not hide behind my content and to instead step up and talk to people. And it often did not end in me getting clients. Let me just make that very clear. I wasn't like trying to do a fake connection call and trying to sell someone, right? That was not the goal. The goal in the beginning was, let me talk to as many people as possible, because even if it doesn't end up becoming, they don't end up becoming a customer, I'm going to learn something from them. I'm going to have someone online who knows Louisa's a real person and she's cool, right? All the things that you want to establish, even when you're in your corporate career, even when you are doing this in any other setting, when you're starting out in school, at work, right? It's the same process. And so I was just saying, okay, let me show up and talk to as many people as possible, right? And the great thing about all the technology we have available nowadays, it's easy to do that. You can use Zoom, you can use Skype, you can use Facebook. It doesn't matter how you do it. So those are the things I was focusing on. So things I was not focusing on, spending too much time on my website. Made that mistake long time ago. People weren't looking at my website. They didn't really care. Occasionally someone might say, why don't you have a website? When I started out and didn't have one, or someone might just want to do a quick check. Okay, either I don't have one, you can check out my LinkedIn, or I do have one and it's really, really simple. Didn't matter, right? People cared more about talking to me. And once they saw, okay, Louisa, like my first client, like I shared earlier, my first client, I had given her so much free advice for 2 weeks. She was like, yeah, I have no doubt in my mind, you know what you're talking about. You obviously do. I don't care about if you have a website or not, right? So Really, really important there. So I wasn't hiding behind that. I wasn't working on any fancy funnels or emails because, to be honest, I had no clue how to do a good funnel, right? Nobody does from day one. That is not a skill anybody is born with. I didn't have anything to automate, right? And so I wasn't focused on any of that. And besides, I didn't have any traffic to my website. What good would a funnel do? Because even if you have the best converting funnel in the world, you convert 100% of people who see it, and you have zero traffic, 100% of zero is still zero, right? So I wasn't focused on doing those things. I wasn't focused on creating a gorgeous course or anything like that, because guess what? I didn't have any clients. Again, if you have the best course in the world and no clients, not really serving its purpose, right? And so those were the things that I focused on. Now, not only that, but there was a lot of times in between when I had a lot of rejection. There was a period when I went through 30 no's in a row, when I would write posts for days in a row that got zero likes, comments, anything. So I went through the process that I just shared with you guys, where I thought through, okay, what's going on? What are the different pieces that I can address? Now, the final piece I want to talk through is, actually, there's one other thing that really stood out for me when I was doing this review. And it was that at the time, I personally did not really have an audience. Okay, this is really important to understand because, yes, guys, you know, former space station engineer, I'm all about the numbers. However, the numbers are really more of a benchmark so you can analyze what's going on versus something that you just rely on 100%. Like, I have to get this many leads to make this many sales. Not necessarily, especially when you're starting out and you're being so personal and just so in it. Right? Because I was looking at the numbers and I realized, whoa, I went from 5,000 in sales to 11,000 to 41,000 to 51,000. In the first 2 months, when I went from 5,000 to $11,000 in sales, I had no personal community at all. I don't think I had a Facebook page. Definitely did not have a Facebook group. I don't even know how many people I had on my email list. I wasn't emailing anybody, so it didn't really make a difference. Let me tell you that right now. I'm pretty sure I had a lot less than 100 maybe. So anyways, no audience. How did I make those sales? I found my clients where they were. And I wasn't thinking I need to reach 100 people to get one sale. Although if I had needed to, I would have. That was the way I was thinking. It was more, if I find one person who is the right person, that's all I need. Right? And I didn't know who was going to be the right person. So there was a lot of kind of testing involved, a lot of giving of free time. And I wasn't thinking for every single person, oh my gosh, I'm giving this much free time, am I going to get something back? Because remember, I was thinking, even if I don't learn a lot from them about what my clients want and don't want, and there's going to be one more person out there who knows me, who knows Lisa is legit, who knows what she's talking about, she's cool, and sooner or later, that's going to be helpful for me. Right? One person at a time. So that's really key. And not only that, right? But aside from that, there are a few things I wasn't thinking about. And this is really important. I was not thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to scale this in the long term? I wasn't, that saying, don't try to be 40 before you're 40, don't try to walk or don't try to run before you can walk. I wasn't worried about that. I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, I'm working all the time in my free time in my business. How am I going to scale this? I've put in so much time. Why aren't the results equivalent? how am I going to sustain this for the rest of my life? So on and so forth. I was just thinking, look, I'm in the phase I'm in now. And you really have to remember this. Be in the phase that you are in now. And I'm going to crush it here first. I'll worry about the next step when I get there. And this is really important because at that time, any time I had, even if it was just 30 minutes a day, I was absolutely going into those other groups, doing my live streams, just being in it, right? And if I had thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to sustain this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it would have felt incredibly overwhelming. It would felt really like defeating, to be honest. Like, there's no way I can do this. And so I purposefully did not think that way. I just thought, look, I'm in it right now. This is the phase I'm in. I'm earning trust. I'm showing up. I'm letting people know who I am. This is what I need to do. And every day I just took it one day at a time. This is incredibly important because the truth is, as you move through different phases in your business, it will get easier in different ways, right? I never want to say it's going to be just completely easy, because building a business isn't, but it does get easier. Like nowadays, I've been doing this for 6 years. I've got a established brand reputation, a lot of client testimonials, a lot of content, a team, all of those things. And so do I personally have to be, talking to every single person, writing every single post, and then just doing that every single day? No, right? I can, but I don't have to. And the only reason I'm here is because I didn't overthink it in the beginning. So that is really, really key. Now, the next thing that I realized that I was not doing is I wasn't spending any time overthinking or thinking, is this going to be good enough? And I almost forgot that, to be honest, because nowadays, right, I'm in my head a little bit, as we all do, and I'm thinking, hey, I've got this certain reputation, people know my courses are like this, and this is what I do in my business, so I have to meet a certain benchmark. And obviously, it's good to always hold yourself to a high quality standard. That being said, there's a difference between holding yourself to a standard for your audience and then getting in your own head about it, right? And what I realized was, in the beginning, in the first few months of my business, I just went for it. Every single thing. I was looking at like the first year of my business. There were a few things I did that was just like, get it out there kind of thing. And let me give you a few examples. My very first group program launch, it was a program called Your First Paying Clients. This was something where I was booked out with one-on-one clients, and a mentor said to me, hey, I think it's time for you to do your first group program, because obviously you're maxed out with one-on-one clients. And I remember thinking, are you kidding me? I thought it was going to be at least, a few more months or maybe a year before I had to worry about that. I didn't have an audience. I didn't have a course. I didn't have anything. And they said, yeah, I think it's time. And the thing is, when you hire a mentor and you trust them and you've made the right decision, why not listen to them? Because that's what you're paying them for, right? And so I did that. And here's what I did. I didn't feel ready. I didn't have the course. I didn't go for perfect. Instead, I just said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. The worst that'll happen is I don't succeed, and I'll learn a lot from it. I was super scared, right? Didn't want to fail, but that was the way I approached it. And then so what happened was I didn't even have a community then. That was what got me started with my Facebook group. So I really had to be in it and think, okay, I'm in my Facebook group. I'm not going to be complacent. I'm going to be in it every day. How am I going to grow it? How am I going to encourage people to invite their friends? How am I going to make this place so awesome that people are going to want to be in it every day, want to be reading my content, want to be inviting their friends in? So every day I was sharing like 2-3 pieces of content. And by the way, even in the beginning, when there was no one in the group, when no one was responding to it, I was talking to myself. I was doing that every day. Every time a single person came in, and that was like a miracle, right? I would say, welcome, hi, let me know a little bit more about you. I would message them, hey, this is who I am. I'm so excited to have you. Every single person, right? So I did that. And then I went into my launch, and I didn't have my launch strategy back then. I didn't know how to write great sales emails. I didn't know a ton about copywriting or sales. So what did I do? I just went with it, right? I talked to people. I did daily periscopes talking about, hey, here's what I'm going to teach you today. If you want more, this is going to be in the course. I said, hey, this course is going to be awesome. If you want to talk to me about it, let's hop on a call. Right? So I talked to people. I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, let me just work on my sales copywriting, let my sales page do the sales, because I knew it wasn't the best that it could be, right? Because it was a skill that I still needed to develop. So I just went with it. And then same thing with a Black Friday promotion that I did in my first year. This was something where I was like, you know what? I hadn't planned for it, but then I thought, hey, this could be really cool to do. It'll give me a chance to sell some really easy, no-brainer prices that different people who might not have bought from me before would really like. And so I did that. And when I did that, what happened was I just put it together, grabbed some PDFs and different types of bonuses that I'd created for clients and other stuff, and did a bundle promo and made $3,000 in sales from that. And at that time, that was a big deal, right? Because I don't even remember how many people I had on my email list. It was quite a small number. I just went with it. And I wasn't thinking it was going to be perfect. I just put up links, I think, to my Dropbox and things like that. I didn't have a course membership site. So I just went with it. There was absolutely no, perfection or is this going to be good enough? It was, hey, I believe in my value. I'll charge a little bit lower since it's not as beautiful, right? But I know the value is there. So I just went with it. Whenever I got an idea, even though it was scary, even though I was thinking, what if I fail? I just said, screw it. What's the worst that can happen? And so that's what I did. Now, the final thing that I didn't do when I was going through all of this is I was really busy focusing on how can I make this better? How am I gonna be in this? Like every second I was either, reading books about marketing, copywriting, advertising, whatever I could so that I could become a better entrepreneur all around. I was hiring coaches to help me with my sales calls, for example, help me learn how to use social media, right? Help me with my copywriting so I sounded in my writing, the way I talk, not like a boring professional robot. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, just different things are appropriate for different places. And so through doing all of that, what I did was I forced myself to get out of the, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work mode? Because I was so busy bombarding my mind with all of this other information I needed to learn. I didn't have time to be worried about what if I'm wasting my time? What if this doesn't work? And this is really key because guess what? If I had given myself time to do that, I would have asked myself that every single freaking day, right? Because there were so many days where I was not seeing any proof, and we all go through that. And so through basically saying, look, if I have time to be worried and getting in my own head, then I have time to be doing something more productive. Like maybe I need to just watch some YouTube videos on how to do sales. Maybe I need to, review my last coaching call recording with my sales coach. Maybe I need to just look over my past sales processes and see, okay, how could I have improved that? Or looking over the posts I wrote. Okay, if this wasn't great, why wasn't it great? How could I have made it better? Going through that and just being obsessed about that, right? Reading all the common books like Influence, Breakthrough Advertising. What is that? I think that book by Daniel Pink, To Sell is Human or something like that. Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. So all of those things to really bring myself up to speed on all of the skills that I needed to learn. I was also studying people who, in all different industries, who are doing things really, really well, right? Like managing social media really well. If they were an influencer or a YouTuber or like the YouTube makeup artist, I was studying, okay, what makes this so interesting? Why do people love them? How can I apply this to myself? So I was going outside of my industry and just bombarding myself with all of this information. And through doing that, right, through doing that mentally while I was doing just a few things tactically. And I want you to note, by the way, this was not like I was spending 3 hours a day doing all of this. This was literally most days during the week, I had maybe 30 minutes. I would come home really late. I would be exhausted. I would do a little bit of work, and I maybe would block out an hour for myself, but I would just have to sit there and think for maybe 30 minutes, like, okay, let's do this, Lisa, let's do this, hype myself up a little bit. So it ended up being about an hour. Some days it'd be a little bit more, where I would go through this and be thinking and just having myself be in it. Or even throughout the day, if I had 5 seconds, I was thinking, hey, how cool is it gonna be to get on my next sales call and have someone be like, hey, I saw this piece of content or this Periscope you did, I loved it, I would love to hire you, right? That didn't happen until about 3 or 4 months later, but it definitely wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been just doing all of these things. And so it wasn't like it was that time consuming. It was just that every spare second and minute I had, I was really disciplined about how I was using it. And then I was focusing on just the few key things that actually made a difference. And then finally, I wasn't hiding behind trying to show people, hey, here's my fancy knowledge, here's my social media post, here's my email or whatever. I was getting out there talking to people. I was saying, hey, here's the thing. If you have questions, let me know. If you want to hop on a call, let me know. We'll do it. And I wasn't worried about spending too much time or giving too much for free in the beginning, because I knew that even if someone didn't become a customer, there would be so many other benefits like we just talked about. So those are the takeaways that I wanted to share that were just really standing out to me, that, to be honest, I'd kind of forgotten from my own reviewing of what my first 10 to 12 months in business looked like, and the things that really stood out to me. So if you're thinking, look, I'm not amazing at marketing, sales, copywriting, I don't have a big audience, guess what? nobody starts with any of those things. If you are focused on just the things that we talked about and continually doing those and improving those things, that's what's going to make you move forward in your business so that you can get to the other stages where you can be working on those other things, be working on your other skills, setting up your automation, scaling your business, systematizing it, all of that. But the last thing I'll leave you with is just be in the phase that you are in now. Don't be worried about how you're going to get to the next phase. You will. It's going to happen naturally, but only if you basically, pass, quote unquote. I don't want to say pass, like this is not pass fail, but you really focus on and crush the current phase that you're in without getting in your own head. And you can absolutely do that, right? It just takes that commitment, that showing up and doing a few things that really matter, and then talking to people. That's really what it comes down to. Okay, so hopefully you guys have found this helpful. Let me know if you're watching the replay. Let me know if you have any questions. As you're watching the replay, if you guys have any questions right now, I will wait a few seconds and wait and see. But aside from that, okay, so Nicola's saying this was good. I think this is my biggest opportunity to understand and move forward without feeling bad about waiting for results in sales. Thanks. Awesome. Guys, here's the thing. Everyone goes through a struggle, like whatever that looks like. Some people struggle longer than others. For me, it was essentially like a decade, right? And then 2 to 3 years of really focused failure, if you will, before I started getting results. I'm not saying anybody has to go through that because, again, it was a completely different time. Each person has a different situation, but it's just like you can condense that if you're doing the things that we just talked about here.